Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason, speaking to you here in my basement in the great state of Kansas. And I'm doing a video on some physical media pickups that I did today. Yeah, I felt like it was time. It's been a while since I went out and bought some, vinyl or CDs or Blu-rays and all that. And so it just felt like a good day. I had a day off. I needed a day to, to relax, but I really wanted to go out and get some physical media. I feel like I haven't done that in a while. And I don't know, something about when you collect things, you just get an itch every once in a while. It's like, I gotta go buy more stuff and add to my collection. You're constantly adding stuff into the collection. And so, yeah, I went to do that today. I usually go to two stores for my collecting. One is called Vintage Stock, which has used vinyl, CDs, also Blu-rays and DVDs. So they also have like video games and comic books, stuff like that. Anyway, so I'll go there for some music and so forth. So I went there, bought some stuff there, and then I go Barnes & Noble because it's right pretty close to Vintage Stock. And yeah, I usually go there not to buy books. I usually go and look at what the movies they have because I can find pretty good prices on some DVDs maybe. And they also have Criterion collection. They have a pretty good collection of Criterion movies, and I like collecting Criterion. So, excuse me. So I like looking and picking out a Criterion a lot of times when I go down there. Even though they're pretty expensive, it's fun to get like one Criterion every once in a while to add to my collection. But I also saw some Christmas. Of course, it's Christmas time, so I saw like Christmas vinyl and CDs and stuff like that. So I bought some there at Barnes & Noble as well. So let's go with some CDs I bought. First one by Vintage Stock is Garth Brooks' debut album, just called Garth Brooks. Yeah, I actually was a big fan of Garth Brooks as a kid in the 90s. He was probably my favorite artist until I discovered the Beatles in the early 90s. But he was my favorite probably artist of the 90s, I would say. Big fan of his, actually, even though I'm not a country music fan anymore. And he still got a lot of great hits that still work, even if you're not a country music fan, I think. And I actually have 3 of his albums. This is the 4th album I've got of his. I would love to get his 90s stuff because that's what I grew up on, listening to Garth Brooks' 90s music, country music. But I already have like In Pieces, No Fences, The Chase. I've got those 3 albums, and now I got the debut. I think I'm missing one more that I really want to get, and that's Roping in the Wind, which I didn't see there, unfortunately. There's some newer albums I saw there at the Vintage Stock that I'm not familiar with, so I don't know if I want to get them or not. We'll see. But anyways, yeah, man, what a debut, though. Looking at the track list, it's got 3 really good songs that are like big hits for him on this. And it's got my favorite Garth Brooks song, and quite honestly, maybe my favorite song of the 90s period. One of my favorite songs of all time, to be honest. But the ones I really like, I know his first big hit was Much Too Young to Feel This Damn Old is on here. Really good song. And then If Tomorrow Never Comes, man, that is an amazing, another amazing country ballad. I always loved that song since I became a fan of his. And then it closes with The Dance. I mean, The Dance is, yeah, that's my favorite Garth Brooks song and probably favorite song from this period. I mean, I love The Dance. It's such a nice kind of ballad with great lyrics about, regretting things that happened in the past, but then you are glad they happened because it made you who you are, kind of thing. I don't know. It's an incredibly written song and beautifully played and sung by, it's one of his, obviously, probably his biggest hit of all time. He didn't write that one, actually. He actually, when he was coming up in, I think, Nashville, trying to get on the country scene, he met a guy who was playing like at one of the country places that he was, constantly playing at these, bars and stuff. And this guy wrote the song, The Dance, and he wrote it, and he sang it with just an acoustic guitar, I believe. And so he just wrote it for acoustic guitar. And Garth Brooks loved that song so much that he told the guy, like, if I ever, if I'm ever able to, cut an album, get a record deal, like, I'm gonna use that song on my album, anyways. Which is really cool for that guy. I'm sure he's probably getting some pretty good money from from writing it. Let's see, his name was Tony Arata or something like that. Anyways, and what Garth Brooks did is he added piano to it, and that really, even though the acoustic guitar was great, him adding that piano really changed the song a little bit, and it's just a beautiful piano. That beginning part is so great. And of course, Garth Brooks, great vocals as well. But man, he made that a huge hit. Anyway, so yeah, I'm interested in listening to this. I know I'm probably not gonna like every song because I'm not a country guy, but still, I kind of like this. It's nostalgia for me getting these old like Garth Brooks albums. All right, another album I bought at Vintage Stock is a soundtrack album. This is for Braveheart. Yeah, the movie Best Picture. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. You'll see it on my 100 favorite movies list. It's up there pretty high. It's one of my favorite movies. I have it on Blu-ray. I've seen it so many times. Um, yeah, I absolutely love it. And this is, I would say, my favorite musical score of all time. That's why I had to get it when I was looking at the soundtrack. They had a soundtrack section, so I was looking at the soundtracks. I was like, I need more soundtracks. I've got the Star Wars soundtrack on CD, and I've got a couple musicals, I think, on soundtrack, and some movies on vinyl as well. But I really love to get some of these like great, just amazing, just instrumental soundtracks. Anyways, and James Horner. This is James Horner. Love James Horner. One of my favorite all-time music scores, conductors, whatever. Music composers, I should say. One of my favorite. And man, this is so good. I mean, you got the Scotch sound, so you got a lot of bagpipes in there. There's some really cool flute. I love this like Scotch flute or something that he uses a lot, and just some beautiful melodies in here. I want to say, "Gift to a Thistle," amazing. I love that theme, and then the ending is so good. But yeah, it's a great. If you like soundtracks, like I said, this is my favorite one. Love to get more James Horner. Like I need to get some more John Williams and Hans Zimmer. Those are my favorite. All right, I was looking for an Association album because we just went through the Association on my friend Nick's channel and went through all of their albums and ranked them and all the songs like that. So I have one Association album, Renaissance, which is my favorite one, which I absolutely love that album. I was hoping to find another one, so I was looking in the CD section again. Couldn't find any albums except for the greatest hits, so I was like, I'll buy the greatest hits. So I got the Association greatest hits. Hopefully, of course, you never know about greatest hits. Sometimes they turn out pretty good, sometimes not, but hopefully it turns out pretty good. But yeah, love the Association. Really great band. One of the best bands I got to go through with Nick. That's really risen up my list of great bands and very underrated band. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's 13 songs. It had there's 5 songs that I had to have on this album, and it had those 5 songs. So I was like, okay, it's good enough for greatest hits then. But I mean, there's the 4 big hits: Never My Love, Along Comes Mary, Cherish, and Windy. Those are the 4 big ones. And then another favorite of mine is No Fair at All, and that's on here. So I'm so happy they put that on there. I'm like, this wouldn't be complete without No Fair at All. Even though it wasn't a big hit for them, it should have been. It's my favorite song. Off Renaissance, my second favorite song of all time for the Association. All that. There's some songs I'm not real familiar with, like The Time It Is Today, Everything That Touches You, Like Always. I probably remember them once I listen to them. For some reason, I'm not remembering them. 6-Man Band, I don't really remember that all. But then you got Requiem for the Masses, which is really cool. That's an interesting song. One of the more complex songs that they did. It was a closer for Inside Out, I believe. A really cool closer. One of the longer songs, too. It's over 4 minutes, which most of their songs don't go over 3 minutes. So, but it's kind of a cool song that changes kind of styles during the song. Into the Young is a great song. I think it's an opener for one of their first 3 or so albums. Either the first or third album, I think it's like I want to say, or maybe the second one, I can't remember. It's a great opener for one of the albums, so that's cool. Time for Living, great song. I was happy to see that here. That's such an upbeat, fun song. We Love is a great song on here as well. So there's a lot of good stuff, some stuff that I don't remember as much, but still got to get some more Association. So, all right, another album I bought at Vintage Stock in the used CD section. I was like, I got to get some Bob Dylan because I've been listening to Bob Dylan since I've been going through the 60s and doing our top 10 albums. And this album was my favorite album of 1964, and that is The Times They Are Changing by Bob Dylan. Yeah. This is one I'm sure I listened to before in the past, but I don't remember much about it except for like the title song, The Times Are Changing, is a great Bob Dylan song. I love that song. But I'm a big fan of Another Side of Bob Dylan, which also came in 1964, and that was my favorite Bob Dylan album. And then when we were doing top 10 albums in 1964, and I listened to this album, I was like, I actually like this better than even Another Side of Bob Dylan. And this ended up being my favorite album in 1964, beating out Another Side of Bob Dylan and Hard Day's Night came in second and third on my list. So yeah, I was glad to see this at the store. 'Cause I was like, I got to get this. It's my favorite Bob Dylan album, my favorite album 1964. And I gave it 10 out of 10. It's the first album I gave 10 out of 10 chronologically. It's the first album I'm giving it 10 out of 10. There'll be more in 65 and the 4. There's going to be more 10 out of 10s, but from 60 to 63, no 10 out of 10. The 64, I get one 10 out of 10. It's this one. But it's just, I love this style of Bob Dylan where it's just him and acoustic guitar and harmonica. It's very simple. Maybe there's a piano or something there, but he doesn't have really a band behind it. It's just him, and it's just these very folks, very folk. It's before he went electric, and when he went electric, that was fine. He has some good stuff there, of course, like Highway 61 Revisited, Blonde on Blonde, Blood on the Tracks, some good albums there as well. But I don't know. I'm kind of find myself really loving this early period, like before he went electric. With this and Another Side of Bob Dylan are my two favorite Bob Dylan albums now. But yeah, if you haven't heard it, man, it's such a great folk album. Of course, Times Are Changing, great song. With God on Our Side is such a great song. I really love that song. One of my favorite of his now. Only Pawn in Their Game was a great song. Like, I wasn't familiar with that at all. I kind of loved that song. Boots of Spanish Leather, great song. And also The Lonesome Death of Hattie Carroll was a great song. Like, I was really, like, I thought every song was pretty good. Like, I didn't dislike any song. I gave it 10 out of 10 because I was like, all these songs are actually pretty good to being pretty great. So yeah, definitely got to check that out if you haven't checked out one of his early stuff. And this one I actually got in Barnes and Nobles. It's like, it's Christmas season, so I'm probably gonna get some more Christmas albums. I love Christmas albums. I love collecting them, to be honest. So I kind of I'm starting a pretty big collection of Christmas albums. It's probably something I'm gonna be doing here, and been buying a lot of them lately. In fact, every time I go to Vintage Stock, I buy one usually. But yeah, this is Mariah Carey, Merry Christmas. Which, interesting, Mariah Carey and Merry Christmas both have MC. I didn't realize that until now. That's pretty cool. But yeah, this came out like 1994 from what I saw. I mean, you got young Mariah Carey when she was really kind of at the height of her young pop career. And I had to get this because it's like considered one of the greatest like Christmas CDs. And Mariah Carey, there's kind of a joke that every Christmas she makes all her money because her music is on the radio a lot during Christmas time because of this album. It was a huge hit album. And the big song is All I Want for Christmas Is You is kind of her signature song on here that's played constantly during Christmas time. Anyways, and yeah, it's a good song. I like it. And she has a great voice. She definitely is one of the great pop singers of the 90s period and and onward. So interesting what else she has here. I mean, you got Silent Night, Oh Holy Night. I mean, some great songs there. So I have a good feeling about those. And some songs I'm not familiar with, so we'll see. But yeah, definitely had to, when I saw it, I was like, I have to buy this. I need this Christmas album in my collection. So there it is. Now I go to some vinyl that I bought. First, actually bought 3 vinyls at a Vintage Stock, which were all blind buys, which meaning I never heard any of these 3 albums, but they're by artists that I kind of like. So I thought I'll take a chance and hopefully they're good. So it's one of those risky things, but they're not very expensive. So I'm willing to take a risk on used albums that don't cost me too much. But first one I got is Dan Fogelberg's The Innocent Age. And yeah, I'm just a little bit familiar with Dan Fogelberg. I'm not super familiar with him, but he has a couple songs I really love from him. Anyways, and I looked at the back, and this is a double album, in fact. And again, I don't know much about Dan Fogelberg. I know Rich Strickler. I don't know if you're watching this, Rich. I think you know more about Dan Fogelberg than I do. You can tell me more about him, and hopefully, and I mean, you can tell me if this is a good album. Maybe Sam St. John. He seems familiar with this kind of artist. Maybe you can tell me if this is a good artist or a good album. I guess I'll see you eventually, but the reason why I bought it is because it looks like it came out in 1981, so early 80s. It has 2 of my favorite Fogelberg songs on it, so I was like, it's got 2 great hits on it. Why not buy it? which is Leader of the Band and Same Old Lang Syne. So, I mean, two of his biggest hits, that with Longer, or like his three big hits that I know of, is Longer, Leader of the Band, Same Old Lang Syne. It's hard to say. Leader of the Band might be my favorite song from him, and it's on this album, so that's great. I even sang the song on my channel. If you look at my Jason Sings playlist, it was the last thing I did, I think, singing-wise, because I dedicated to my old band teacher, Mr. Tompkins, who passed away this last year. So I wanted to do something in his memory, and so I sang that song, Leader of the Band, because he was my band teacher. Anyway, so just a little thing there, but I love that song. It's a beautiful song. Same Old Lang Syne is a great kind of Christmas song. I don't know if it's officially a Christmas song, but they play it every Christmas, so it's basically like a Christmas song. But it's another really cool song about and not only is it beautifully written and everything, and it does have some Christmas jingle in it at the end. It's about Christmas, seeing someone at like Christmas Eve or something like that, and it's such a cool song idea about you bumping into an ex-girlfriend at the store. I think the liquor store. I think he's at the liquor store or something like that. He bumps into an old ex-girlfriend, and then they go hang out, and then he kind of thinks back about his past, and about, man, how much good times he had with this girl, and kind of like, what if they would have stayed together, kind of thing, and kind of catching up. Anyways, great song, Old Lang Syne. Anyways, besides that, I don't know any other songs on here, so interesting what I'll get. Who knows? Be a mystery, but we'll see. Yes, I picked up Chicago 3. Again, don't really know this album. I do like Chicago, so I was like, I'll take a chance on it. I did it on Chicago 2. I bought Chicago 2 at Vintage Stock a while back, and I really thought that was a pretty good album. I enjoyed that album. Anyway, so we'll see. I don't really recognize any of the songs on here when I looked at the listing, whatever, but it's, of course, a double album, because like the first, I know, several Chicago albums were all double albums, which is crazy. I do like the cover, though. It's kind of a cool cover. Anyway, but yeah, so we'll see. Again, I know, Scott, you probably know Chicago. You're one of the people I know Chicago better than most of us in my group, so I'm sure you can tell me what you think about Chicago 3, and of course, I don't think Nick is a big fan, and I don't know if Briar is a big fan of Chicago, but I know Scott's a big fan of Chicago, so you can tell me what you think of Chicago 3. If it was if it was a bad buy or it was a good buy, I don't know. But I got 2 and 3. Chicago 2 and 3 on my list. All right, this is an album. Yeah, I see this at the store all the time, actually, the Vintage Stock. And I keep thinking about buying it, but I don't, just because I don't know the songs on the album, I don't think. But I think I thought Adam from What the Gym liked this album. So I thought, I'll buy it. That is Neil Diamond's Stones album. Again, I think Adam likes this album. So if Adam, you're watching, tell me if I'm right, this is an album that you like. Because I know Adam is a big Neil Diamond fan. And I like Neil Diamond. I don't know much about his albums. I know his hit songs. Anyway, so I love the Vintage Warranty Neil Diamond, but this has been at Vintage Stock for like this last year. Every time I look at the vinyl section, this pops up, and I always think, oh, I need to listen to this album to see if it's worth a buy. But then today I was like, I couldn't find a lot of great albums to buy, so I was like, I'm just going to have to buy some albums I don't know, just because I don't know. I didn't want to come home empty-handed, so I was like, I'll buy some albums that I hopefully will like. That's why I bought these 3 albums there. This is a cool packaging, though. This is broke, of course, it's a used, but it's like a letter or something. I don't know. I've never seen vinyl kind of like this. It's kind of almost like this letter thing that you open up. So pretty cool. But I like Neil Diamond, so we'll see there. Hopefully something good there. All right. Then I went to Barnes & Nobles, and I wasn't expecting to buy vinyl there, but they had a bunch of Christmas vinyl. I just couldn't resist looking at it. So 2 vinyls that I just felt like I had to buy. There's some more vinyl I would love to buy, but these vinyls are expensive. They're $30-40 a vinyl. So I'll be honest, I spent more money than I really wanted to, but I was just in the mood, I guess. All right, first one is Bare Naked for the Holidays by the Bare Naked Ladies. Yeah, I haven't really listened to a lot of Bare Naked Ladies. I just remember their big hits in the 90s. But I really like this Christmas album. I've heard this Christmas album before on Spotify, and actually made my top 10 favorite Christmas albums. I think I did like a year or 2 ago. I did a list of my 10 favorite Christmas albums at that time. I'm gonna have to do another list this year because I've been listening to a lot of Christmas albums. But yeah, I love Christmas albums. I love listening to new ones and kind of, you know, collecting them. But yeah, really good album. Like I said, definitely one to check out. It's definitely different. Bare Naked Ladies, as you can tell by their name, they have a very good sense of humor about them. They're a Canadian band, of course. And so this album has some a lot of originals. That's what I like. Not only covers, but some good originals that have a lot of good humor behind them. Green Christmas is, oh man, that is a really good song off of here. Really good original, super catchy. Elf's Lament is a great song with Michael Bublé actually singing on it as well. It's a funny song about elves kind of going on strike because they feel like they're being mistreated in the North Pole. It's a funny song, very catchy. Um, the big song on here really is God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen slash We Three Kings with Sarah McLachlan. Kind of their big song on here because it's on the radio. Every Christmas I hear that on the radio. It's a great version of those songs. I really love their version. It's kind of a smash up of those two songs. Really great stuff there. Footprints is a really good original, I think, and also Christmas Picture is kind of a funny song about getting the family together for a Christmas picture. But yeah, overall a really fun kind of pop album, I guess. Bare Naked Ladies, Bare Naked Holidays. I did when I saw this, I was like, I gotta get this. I really like this album. So, and I bought this album for Briar last year, so I know Briar's heard this album. And hopefully enjoyed that. I'm starting to lose my voice because I still got a cold, but yes, I saw this and I had to buy it, and that is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the original soundtrack and music, anyways, featuring the voice of Burl Ives. But man, I was a big fan of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I watched every Christmas as a kid. I mean, this came out in '64, so it's been out for a long time. I mean, it's 2024, so I mean, that like 50, 60 years ago this year. So yeah, always love this anyways. And the music is great too. That's why I was like, oh, I gotta get this. I have Charlie Brown Christmas soundtrack as well. I bought it a couple years ago, I think, or when I first started buying vinyl. So yeah, this is a good another good Christmas album to add to that of the classic, animation movies that came out, shorts, but yeah, music and lyrics by Johnny Marks. And I mean, man, look at this. You got the holly jolly Christmas and the jingle, jingle, jingle. Bum, 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 bum. There's always tomorrow. Beautiful song. Good ballad there. We're a couple of misfits. Another great song. Silver and Gold. I mean, come on. Silver and gold. Silver and gold. Beautiful, beautiful song. Yeah, then Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, of course, the title song. And Burl Ives is so good in it. Yeah, really excited to get this and listen to this. And remember my childhood, always love that. All right, and then I bought 2 Blu-rays at Barnes & Nobles. First one is a movie I've never seen before. So again, a blind buy, but the cast is so good. I was like, oh. And I heard about this movie, but never seen it. And when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, like, that's what I love about Barnes & Noble. Sometimes you'll see stuff that you don't see in any other stores. But it's called Millionaire Express. It's a kung fu movie. Not sure when it came out. I'm guessing the 80s period because it has a lot of 80s kind of kung fu stars in it. But I find a lot of these really good kung fu movies at Barnes & Nobles. I've got 2 already that I bought from there. There are some classic kung fu movies that I just don't find anywhere else. I feel like they're hard to find in Barnes & Nobles. I don't know. I'm guessing, let's see, it's a special company, I think, that does these. I forget the name of the company. Oh, Arrow, yeah. Arrow does these videos, and I don't see Arrow videos anywhere really, except for Barnes & Nobles must do a special thing on Arrow videos. But yeah, this actually, I came across this movie, or found out about this movie this last year, I think, thanks to a channel called Video Tasties. Gareth is the guy who does that channel, Video Tasties. Really great channel. And he had this guy on his channel, Ken Norton. or Richard Norton, sorry, Ken Norton, that's a wrestler. Richard Norton. But yeah, Richard Norton, who's right here in this movie, he had him on his channel. He's also had Cynthia Rothrock on his channel. I mean, he's had some really cool guests and interviews from a lot of action movies and stuff. But I never didn't really know who Richard Norton was until I saw him on his channel, and then I realized, oh, I recognize him from a lot of old kung fu movies. He's always this white guy. He's English or Australian or something, but he always plays villains in these Jackie Chan, Sammo Hung movies. Anyways, really good villainous character who's good kung fu fighter as well. And it's cool because he's white, so he's definitely a big contrast. He's fighting amongst the Asian actors and stuff like that because he's a little bit bigger and taller and bigger than them. But yeah, anyway, so I saw that and they showed some videos of some movies that he was in, and this movie came up, and I was like, I've never heard of Millionaire Express, and it's such a cool look to it. Like it had like a because there's like I said, there's Asians, and then there's American English people. Like I said, Cynthia Rothrock and Richard Norton are in here. So it looks like it's like around the Civil War era or something like that. There's, it's like a Western. It's like a Kung Fu Western, it looks like, from what I've seen. You got trains and, like you can see horses anyway, so it's like American West Kung Fu movie. So I was like, wow, this looks so cool. And like I said, you got Sammo Hung in here. You got Cynthia Rothrock. You got Yuen Bio. I mean, some absolute legends in Kung Fu cinema. So I was like, man, why have I never heard of this movie or seen it? Anyways, and I tried looking for it and I like couldn't find it on YouTube or anything. And so I was like, man, I would love to see this. And then when I saw it at Barnes and Nobles, I was like, I had to get it. It was like $40. So these are pretty expensive as well, unfortunately. But I was like, oh, I really would love to see this movie. And I'm sure Michael Woods from Cinema Axeman has this movie. He's probably shown it on his channel because he has a lot of the great Kung Fu movies on his channel anyways. And I love these old Kung Fu movies. I'm a big fan. I have quite a bit of them. Anyway, so yeah, it's real excited to watch. I've never seen this, so I'll be excited to watch this. It has 4 different cuts, which is crazy, of the movie, and it has 2 audio commentaries plus special features. So looking forward to delving into that and seeing if this is as good as I'm hoping. All right, last Blu-ray I watched, I got a Criterion Collection. Like I said, I like to get one Criterion Collection when I'm over in Barnes & Nobles, even though they're expensive. But this one's called The Great Dictator. It's a Charlie Chaplin movie from, I think, 1940. This is kind of the first talkie Charlie Chaplin movie. Really cool movie. It's not one people talk about a lot, or I'm sure there's a lot of people like Mike from Did You See That's going to say, I've never seen that movie. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not surprised. But or Ryan Swells or Ryan Conway. I'm sure you're all like, never heard of this movie, maybe. But really cool movie. I'm not a big Charlie Chaplin guy because I don't like silent films. But this one is part silent, part talkie film, I guess. You could say it's the first one where he ever talked in, I believe. Because even his 30s, movies in the 30s were all silent films, his classics of the 30s period. Anyway, but Charlie Chaplin directed this movie. He plays 2 different characters in the movie. And he wrote the movie, screenplay, and also wrote the music. So, I mean, he was really hands-on. If you don't know The Great Dictator, Charlie Chaplin plays 2 characters. He plays a character that basically looks like Hitler. Because this is 1940. And England wasn't in World War II yet. But they're about to be, I think, or maybe they got into World War II by this point. But America wasn't into World. I should say that America wasn't into World War II yet. We haven't been bombed by Japan yet, so we were looking from afar at this war that was happening in Europe. And so it's kind of crazy that he made this movie basically making fun of Hitler right before America gets involved in the war. So it seemed somewhat controversial. People are like, should we be making a movie about this dictator guy? Of a war that we haven't got involved in. I don't know. It was controversial at the time, and it's very. It definitely is interesting looking back and watching it because the character he plays isn't called Hitler. He's called a different name. He's from a made-up country, but he's dressed and he has the Hitler mustache. He's dressed like Hitler. And he doesn't have a swastika, but he has a different signal that's kind of like a swastika on his arm. And he acts like Hitler anyway. So it's like Hitler, but it's not Hitler. He also plays a Jewish barber who, the whole movie is this Jewish barber looks like the dictator in the movie, and so they kind of come to this plan to try to swap them. And so if they can swap this Jewish barber with the dictator, that he can stop the war and stop, you know, the chaos that's going on. And so that's kind of the whole idea behind the movie. But the funny thing is, like, I mean, you're talking about a very serious subject matter, Hitler, but it's a comedy, and they're kind of making fun of Hitler because he makes Hitler look like a, you know, a goofy doofus, you know, which is great because, I mean, make fun of Hitler all you want. I love that. Of course, there's a movie came out, Jojo Rabbit, that made fun of Hitler as well. It's very similar to this to me, what they do with the Hitler character. But yeah, very interesting movie. One of a kind. I've seen it once and I quite enjoyed it. That's why I was like, oh, I saw some Criterion. I was like, I'd love to watch this again. It has a good audio commentary, it looks like, by historians, Charlie Chaplin historians. So I love a good audio commentary by historians, like really talking about behind the scenes stuff. So I love that about Criterion Collection. They usually have some good audio commentaries on them, plus a bunch of special features in here. So, I mean, I would say if you haven't seen this movie, man, check this movie out. It is a cool movie, one of my favorite Charlie Chaplin movies. And there's a great speech at the end. It's funny. He wrote this whole speech at the end. It's a comedy until the very end. The Jewish barber who's acting like the dictator gets in front of everybody. He gives this really, really good, serious speech about, you know, the war and, like, you know, the humanity and how, you know, we need to stop wars. It's a great anti-war speech at the end. That's what really glued me in when I saw that at the end. I was like, wow, that was a great speech and great ending to the movie. But yeah, definitely check it out if you haven't. And I'm excited to check this one, all the special features and everything. But add to my Criterion collection, which I'm growing pretty, not a great one. Some people have huge Criterion collections. I have a little bit of a Criterion collection growing anyways, but love it. Love getting these. Great Dictator. Right there. Anyway, so those are the movies and music that I bought this time around. And so I hope you enjoyed that. Please comment, like I said, especially the people I called out. Please comment. What do you think about this stuff that I bought? Hopefully I bought some good stuff here. Anyways, besides that, you know, thank you to everybody that's watching this video. Thank you for liking it. And I know tomorrow's Thanksgiving for us Americans, so I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving tomorrow. And non-Americans, hope you just have a good Thursday, I guess. And yeah, besides that, thank you to all my subscribers for supporting the channel. I appreciate you all and I hope you have a good day.